Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another live at 9:45. Although tonight it's more like live at 9:53. This is time number 3 of trying to start the upload for this evening, and I have no idea what Facebook is throwing at me, but hopefully the rest of the night isn't so fun-filled with all of the technical difficulties. Alright guys, so if you've been in the show before, then you know what you're here for. If you haven't been in the show before, this is a live question-answer series that I do with prominent, important, or otherwise interesting people inside of the scale community who are doing great things and promoting positivity inside of the hobby. Additionally, a couple of interesting pieces that it made you approve it. That's weird, Jason. Sorry, I'm reading comments because I've got a lot of weird stuff going on. So anyway, technical issues. All right, now we've got people coming in. That's good. Thanks for coming in, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you for logging in. So briefly, I want to talk about some stuff about me, and then I will bring Josh on, and we will fire up this interview for tonight. So let's talk a little bit about, if you're not following my stuff, check out my Instagram, my VanOrd Customs Facebook page, and my YouTube channel, where I'm uploading all of these later and some other stuff that's going on. If you're just tuning in now, we've already had some technical difficulties, so I would expect more of those, and I apologize for anything Facebook throws at me in the future. If you are tuned in and having problems, or people are saying they're having problems, have them download the newest version of Facebook. I just downloaded mine like 2 hours ago, and I'm guessing that's part of the issue that we've got going on. Now, without further ado, I want to talk a little bit about our guest. Our guest is Josh Dutton. If you do not know who Josh is the guy behind RC Every Day. So if you ever see any of those killer, beat-up looking rat rods, Josh is the brains behind those rat rods taking place and all of that awesome scale building that he does. So we're going to have him on, we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to try and get that kicked off and up and running now. So, okay, thank you, Nick, for letting me know it's working fine. Hopefully it's working fine for everybody else as well. Alright, bringing Josh on. Okay.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. It's working.
It is working. And so for everybody out there in viewer land, Josh has headphones on because we were having problems last night with Facebook. So it's only par for the course that tonight when I tried to upload it, we'd have to upload it like 3 or 4 times before it worked.
Yeah.
So, but we will persevere and we will make it through, and we'll get everything fired up and running the way it needs to be. So. All right. So how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Happy to be here.
Awesome. I'm super excited. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all these questions that I've lined up, and any of the questions people throw at us. Guys who are logging in, remember, if you have a question for Josh or myself, just put it up in the comments, and we will do our best to get to them if we can.
All right.
Okay. So let's talk about the first item on our agenda, and that is, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm getting a little bit of feedback through my headphones now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's my turn. So yeah, I'm 35 years old. I've been building RC cars since I was, 6 years old. I got my first Radio Shack toy, and that by the time I was 9, that had been repainted about 7 times. So it's always been about trying to make it more scale and just, trying to find the realism. It was it's called the Fierce Warrior, and it was a Hilux body. It had a wing and hood scoops and stuff, and I took all that off and tried to make a roof rack out of coat hangers, and it was, but that's where I got my start with the hobby. It was, just being a little kid. I've always been trying to find that realism in the toys that we had growing up, and I grew up and started finding it.
So how long have you been doing this? You said since you were a little kid. You said you've been in it since kind of the beginning. Do you know what time frame that actually got all sparked for you, or?
Well, that was probably in the late 80s, early 90s when that happened.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Do you remember who or what specifically got you started?
Those trips to Radio Shack My dad had a police scanner, and it needed
Okay.
crystals to actually work. So we'd go to Radio Shack, and I'd see all those RC cars with hard bodies, and it just, it was awesome. It looked so much more real, and that was kind of what set it off for me.
Awesome. So you talked a little bit about your first truck, or the first one that you were like doing modifications with coat hangers and whatnot. Was that your first hobby grade RC specifically, or what was your first hobby grade?
The
RC?
first hobby grade RC was a Tamiya or Tamiya. Everybody gets offended how I say it. I'm in Texas. We do things different, but
yeah,
it was a TA02 with an Alfa Romeo body. I didn't even know what an Alfa Romeo was here in the States, but I just liked it because it was red and it was cool and it was 4-wheel drive, and yeah, that was my first actual hobby grade. And I had a RC10 T2 stadium truck back in the day. That was my second one I ever had. I never really did anything scale with those because, stadium trucks, the tires stuck way out the sides, and, you're limited by Lexan.
Yeah, that definitely puts a hitch in the whole scale component. Although there are some people who do some really cool stuff with Lexan.
There really is, and it just astounds me because I cannot work with the stuff.
Yeah, anytime I do it, it looks very plasticky and fake. But what is it? Those guys that do all the 3D printed pieces for the Chevy body and then put them in, and with
the RC nerds.
Yes, I thought that was the name. I didn't want to say the name wrong. The RC nerd guys. Oh my gosh, they're so good.
Yeah, they do some amazing stuff with that.
Yeah,
I can't even attempt it. I hate Lexan.
All right. So you're pretty involved in this RC hobby that we've got going on. If you weren't inside of the RC hobby, what do you think you would be doing for a hobby?
I have too many hobbies. That's why I've never been able to get as involved as I have now. Because I play guitar a little bit, keyboard, I write music and stuff like that occasionally. I haven't done that much since I've started the channel, but I got a real project car. I got a 58 Chevy Del Rey. It's bagged, and I'm putting the engine, swapping in a Cadillac engine in it right now. So I've got a varied amount of hobbies. I got all kinds of stuff. I like to do stuff. I'm doing home remodeling too right now. Got a bathroom gutted out on the other side of the house. So this isn't keeping me from anything. I'm single, so I've got plenty of time for all of my hobbies, all my varied interests. So
that would make a big change, man. I haven't been single in since high school, so I don't even know what that's like. But I think that it would be a little easier to get the time for sure.
Oh yeah.
So interesting. Sorry, I was reading a comment just to see if it was a question, but all right. So I'm gonna address this to the guys who are out there tuned in. What is one thing that really drives you to stay inside of the hobby that we're doing right now, the scale RC hobby, and why the draw to scale? Josh, we'll talk about scale stuff later and all of that, but that's kind of toward everybody else out there in viewer land if you guys want to comment some stuff up. So my next two questions I ask of a lot of people, and I'm always interested to hear where these go. So are you a big tire fan or a small tire fan?
Honestly, I don't even know. I guess you're talking scale 1 or class 1 to class 3 kind of. Yep. I've never comped. I've never been to a comp. I crawl in my backyard and around the lake that's by my house, and that's about it. So as far as my personal taste, I prefer smaller tire just because it looks more realistic. I'd rather have a realistic looking Trailfinder 2 Hilux with factory tires and wheels on it than I would a lifted one with 2.2s or something. So I'd say small tire.
Yeah,
may not perform as well, but it's about the scale performance more than it's about actual performance.
Yeah, and so honestly, lately I've been having more fun driving the small tire trucks anyway, because stuff that's easier with the bigger trucks, it's stuff you shouldn't be able to do with an RC truck happens with setups that are small and difficult to drive, and it blows my mind sometimes. So brushed or brushless? What's your preferred way to go there?
I'm pretty old school. More of my rigs are brushed. I still run stick packs with Tamiya connectors on everything. I get a lot of flack from that on YouTube, but I'm old school. That's what I grew up with. Even the Radio Shack rig I had Tamiya connectors.
Yeah,
it's just It's simple. It's old school. I'm a little. I mean, I've got a lot of money and a lot of time in these rat rods and stuff. I don't trust lipos. I've got a good charger that can, storage charge them and all that, but I just don't trust them. I've got one that came with a boat that I have that I check daily to make sure it hadn't puffed up because I don't trust it.
It's interesting where we're at in the hobby right now. Hear someone who's in, especially as deep as you say, that you're not very trusting of the lipo batteries and that you're not using them, because I think that there's a big push that lipo is kind of the only way to go, and that you seem to be having plenty of fun without it. So
that's kind of my deal. I spend more time building than I do driving. I've drove my Hilux for the first time in like 3 months a couple weeks ago, and I haven't touched it since. I can leave that stick pack in there for a year if I have to, and don't have to worry about it. It's just easy. But yeah, lipos, I mean, they're great. The power is awesome. I put a lipo on my old number 2 rat rod and drove it around because it does have a brushless motor in it because it's geared down so low, and it improved it a little bit, but I can't trust it. I've got trust issues with batteries.
Hey, it's okay. Maybe we will convert you someday over to the lipo world, but I don't think it's happening anytime soon.
There's no need for it.
Yeah.
Not with what I do, anyway.
And that's fair. In the competition side of it, where we're going to comps all the time, like I'm a monthly competition type of person. Like that's what I go do. That's where I go and meet people and run stuff, is at competitions. So if you're going to be competitive, that extra punch is really nice.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Extra juice you get.
There's not a whole lot of that scene down here in the North Texas area. There's very few. There's a couple groups around the Metroplex that get together and do stuff every now and then, but there's not a comp every weekend. There's not a big event. There's nothing in this area like the East Coast Scale Challenge. None of that stuff's anywhere near us. So it's kind of a dead zone for the scale world.
Yeah.
But
all right. So let's talk a little bit about what is your favorite part of the RC hobby?
My favorite thing, it's the same as it is with real cars, is the suspension engineering, chassis fabrication. That ever since I was in a car club in high school, and we built custom trucks, air ride, we'd body drop them and chop them all to heck, and it was just. I've always been fascinated with suspension stuff, and I have a understanding of the suspension geometry and how things work like that. So that's why the rat rod thing kind of appealed to me for other couple of reasons too. But it's all about the raw mechanical thing of it, and it's no matter how crazy you can get, it's a challenge to see how crazy you can do your suspension. I mean, the very first one I built, my 32 Roadster, it is a cantilever front and rear suspension on a 32 Roadster, and you can't see any of it. That was just kind of cool to do something so amazing and hide it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I'm not sure everybody always picks up on, but your stuff specifically is really intricate, and it's done in ways that are interesting and unique as well. And it's nice to see that going out there for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the YouTube stuff. And so maybe we have some aspiring YouTube people watching or tuning in later. What got you started in making videos on YouTube? Like, why the jump there?
Well, I got back in the crawlers. I've been in and out of the crawler stuff since mid 2000s, and there really wasn't a whole lot around. I had 3 Tamiya high lifts, and they're only so capable, but they had leaf springs, so that was awesome at the time. But back, I got a new job. I started making better money finally, and I got a house, a little workshop. I bought an RC 4-drive Cruiser, and they sent me a D110. And I was pleasantly surprised because that's about, I don't know, $60 more expensive or so.
Right.
So I was like, well, I really want a Cruiser. We had a Land Cruiser growing up. That was our only car for a while. It was an old FJ. So I really wanted that, so I bought a Cruiser. So I started putting these together, and I'm like, I've got a really nice camera. I used to do photography, and I storm chaser for a while too. Another one of my hobbies.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's video. I might as well. I had this scale garage I was working on, and I was like, I'll just show people building them and setting them up how I set it up for my little course in my backyard. And it was very awkward at first because I'm not comfortable being on camera usually. It's been 5 years now, and I'm finally You know, this is big for me actually being in front of the camera instead of behind it. But yeah, it was a slow go, but I just was like, I'm doing it. You know, there's channels like RC Sparks and ESPRC and stuff like that. GCM Racing was a huge influence on me because those guys they just do like this. They sit around and they talk and they show us stuff, and that was the main inspiration because I like what they do. I like their style. I like their creativity. They're always creating stuff, and it's not just putting a kit together. So I started making videos putting kits together.
Yeah. So geographically, they're really far from you, but have you ever gotten a chance to meet up with those guys?
I have not. We exchanged some on Instagram comments and stuff like that, but that's really it. You know, they like my stuff, I like their stuff, and it's pretty cool. That's one of the reasons I wanted to go to Florida to the Ultimate Scale show down there because they kind of participate in that a big part. So yeah, maybe one day.
I know that they've gone there the last couple years, and I would assume they probably are going to go this year as well. And so they were one of my like influences in the YouTube thing as well. I watched a lot of what the GCM guys did. I liked the conversation back and forth. I thought it was cool. The rig review stuff's super cool. And then so I watched a lot of your stuff too. And so I'm not gonna lie, I haven't picked up every single video that you've done because you have a big
455 or so right now.
Yeah. So I haven't seen them all. However, are you like primarily you're not on camera? Have you done any where you are on camera?
Since I've been getting into the rat rods and stuff, I'm doing actual fabrication. I'll film myself welding. You won't see me completely, but you know, at the drill press or at the grinder, at the welding area. You know, this room's only 10 by 12. I have a welding area. It gets pretty smoky in here, but yeah, I'm a little bit more. I mean, back in the beginning, I used to have a strong adult beverage before I'd start filming, and then you can tell in my voice, I'm kind of like, so yeah, welcome to the channel. You know, just awkward about it, but it's part of growing, and that's what in the beginning. That's what a lot of my viewers commented on. They were like, "You're just like a regular guy," and I'm like, I am. I'm just a guy in my shop playing with my toys. I just thought I'd film it and share it with everybody because it's cool.
Right, and so that's one of the things. Like that's one of my drives behind this is to show that you guys are all regular guys, and that you're
exactly. And that's why I like this format so much because it's neat to put voices and faces to the names that I've talked to on Facebook for years.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Absolutely, man. So where did the name RC Everyday come from? Is it as simple as you play with your RC every day, or like was it?
So I guess I was partly inspired back before Motor Trend sold out and got off YouTube. They had Roadkill and Dirt Every Day.
Right.
And I thought Dirt Every Day was kind of a lame show. Those guys, they gimmick it up too much. And I just thought, I could make a show called RC Every Day. And it just kind of snowballed from there. It's like, they can't sue me for that, right? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're good. I think you'll be all right. So you have a big portfolio at this stage. Like you've done a bunch of stuff, and you have your subscribers are climbing up there as well. So how long have you been shooting and editing the RC videos at this point?
I think I started, it's 4.5, 5 years, somewhere in that area. It's a slow go. Like in the beginning, it was, I think I did it 3 years, and I maybe have had 2,500 subscribers. And I don't know if you're anybody that's starting out on YouTube, when you have under 1,000, they send you an email every time you get a new subscriber. And every day I'd be at work and be like, another one, all right. You know, it just goes. And then all of a sudden they stop coming. And you're like, well, what happened? That nobody subscribed today. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I've got 2,500. And it's a very slow go on YouTube. But yeah, it's been about 5 years since I got started.
As far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure last count was like 191. Although, like I told you the other day, like I haven't done a lot over there. I just kind of dumped this there. So if people want to watch it later, they can. But I am gearing up to do some more. But yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Like you're like, yes, new subscriber. And I look at it and I'm like, I must be reaching at least 200 by now. No, just one more. That's it.
Nope, just one. Wait, everyone counts.
Yeah, they sure do, man. And I love it. So let's talk about some of your equipment. So let's say someone's starting out and beginning this process of like, hey, I've finally gotten to a point where I'm feeling confident in my building skills. I want to share some stuff. What equipment would like an amateur videographer need to kind of make that happen?
Starting out, I didn't have it when I started out. A really good laptop and a GoPro. I mean,
yeah.
For when I'm welding or most of my driving videos, my crawling videos and stuff, I use the GoPros. I've got an extension on my actual Spectrum radio, and I just have the GoPro mounted, and I just kind of walk along and film with it. But even, I'm doing dirty stuff in the shop, I'll throw the GoPro right next to the grinder while I'm cleaning up a chassis or something after I weld it. And yeah, they're tough. I've got old ones too. I don't even have new ones. Mine are, I think, are 720 at 60 frames per second. That's as fast as they'll go. So
yeah,
it's not great, but it's good enough for YouTube because YouTube quality's hit and miss.
And it really is. That's one of the things that I've learned is that ideally you should be at 1080p if you can get there, but a lot of people are viewing it. Almost everybody's viewing it at 720 anyway. So yeah,
and if you're on your phone, I mean, if you're on 4G or 3G, you're at 420, or you're not even that high. Yeah. So, but the worst thing about YouTube is the audio. I'll sit there because I skim the YouTube audio library. They offer free music to creators and stuff. Yeah. And I'll go through there every time there's something new, and I'll listen to every single one and try to find something that can, because I don't want to have the same song on every video. Right. And it sounds great. I've edited the video. I've got the audio levels perfect. Upload it like 3 days later and go and watch it on YouTube. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. It just doesn't have the same volume that it did when on the computer when you're editing. But yeah, that's YouTube.
Sure is. So where you're at now, you're using currently what equipment to put your videos out there?
My main camera is a Nikon D7100. It's a DSLR. It shoots 1080 at 60 frames a second, max video quality. That's all I do at it. It's, my videos range from, a 5-minute video will be 3 to 5 gig, and that hour-long video like the RC 4-wheel drive build was like 13 gig. Yeah. So that's got dual memory card slots, and it's full HD, and it takes all the good pictures that I use for my thumbnails and stuff like that.
So, all right. So what is your preferred video editing software that you're currently using, and why? So it's interesting to talk about because there's a lot of options out there. And
there are.
You and I talked about it. I was actually really surprised by your answer. So it should be interesting.
I just use iMovie. It's free. Came on the MacBook. I bought the expensive MacBook refurbished because I needed a video editing capability. It's got dual graphics cards and all that. But I've used iMovie since my old white plastic MacBook that I've got in the other room that died. And it's just, I'm familiar with it. As the versions change, they haven't really rearranged the layout too much, so you can pick it back up pretty easy. And I'm not, I can build a computer. I can't program the computer, so I like to keep it as simple as possible with the software. But it's just iMovie. No special thrills or frills or nothing with it. It's just basic stuff. I download the audio from YouTube, put it in iTunes, attach it to iMovie, and I can drag it and edit it. It's just a really simple version of Final Cut. I played with Final Cut Pro and all that, but I'm not going to spend $100 for something I can't hold in my hands. Right. $100 for that software, I could buy, another engine or something, or at least a transmission.
So let's pull that back over and look at it and show off for a second.
Yeah. All right. This is the RC 4-wheel drive with the headers that I designed with them for the Rat Rod giveaway build, which these are available on their Shapeways now. Awesome. The intake is from, it used to be Cyanide Tube, but now it's called Old Iron RC on YouTube. He's in New Zealand. And he builds rat rods like I do, but he fabricates everything from metal, even the body. And we've always bounced ideas back and forth. We've been talking for at least 2 years now. And he designed this. I sent him one of Nightcrawler's 3D's flathead V8 engines. It's 3D printed, the whole engine. And I guess he was a pretty good designer already. He's got a little at-home CNC machine. Yeah. And he got inspired, and he designed that tunnel ram intake with the carburetors. Excuse me, and uploaded it to Shapeways. So I bought one and built it because it fits really cool with the genre of what I'm building. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. As soon as I saw it come out, I was like, oh, wait, bring that back. Talk about
Yeah,
that for a second.
that's supposed to be the engine for my gasser build, but my gasser build is kind of stalled out right now because it's not laying on the ground, and it's not quite my style. It's a cool idea and it fits with the genre, but it's hard for me to get into right now. I
Yeah.
know a lot of folks have asked about that because I haven't done a video in months.
Yep. So this isn't at all on your list of questions that I gave you, so this one's
All
off the
right.
cuff, but you said it's stalled out and what's going on. So how do you kind of keep that drive going? Like, do you hit points where you stall and you're like, I just don't want to
Absolutely. There's 4 or 5 playlists on my YouTube channel that just ended. The what was it? I built an entire chassis for the number 3 rat rod, the black one with, it looks like, I call it my Dale rat rod.
Mm-hmm.
But I built an entire chassis for that. I had cantilever rear suspension set up. It had all kinds of stuff welded on it and brazed on it, and I broke it. I was trying to get too creative, and I messed it up, and I didn't like where it was going. That's the thing with these, when you're building from scratch like this. Like I just get an idea in my head, and I'll sketch it sometimes, and I've got a little sketchbook where I draw out rat rods, or I'll see a rat rod on Instagram, and I'll just be like, I want to build that. There's something similar to that. But when you start building, the build takes you where it wants to go. Like, this is the body for the gasser. This body needs to be laying on the ground. It just doesn't fit right for me setting up high. So I just kind of follow the build. I learned that with my number 2, the truck that I did, the most popular one of them all with the diesel engine. I had a loose idea of what I wanted, and I just kind of went with that. And as I started welding, and I had to redo the frame 3 times, and it told me what it wanted, and the proportions all just kind of balanced out, and it worked out pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, it looks great, man. I love it. So I have to come back to the thing that you just said, where you said the build tells you what it wants, and you follow the build, and that's something that I've run into and I've noticed. But it's also something that I don't always see everybody else embrace, and so it's kind of like a go with the flow mentality, that ability to kind of adapt and overcome, and that's pretty awesome, and I think that's commendable, man. Like it definitely ties and relates to me for sure.
For me, that's even with like putting together a kit. I mean, it goes together one way. There's pretty much one way about it, and you follow the instructions, but there's so much more you can do with it. And that's kind of how I got started.
Yeah.
I built so many of the same kit, I got bored. I mean, yeah, I can make the bodies different. I can detail it differently and all that, different tires and wheels. And I got bored. So I had like 3 Jalan 2s, or Jalande. That's another thing people correct my pronunciation on. But I had all those, and I tore all 3 of them apart, sold the bodies, and started building rat rods.
Right.
I used transmissions and axles and stuff. And I was just like, I want to do something different. Just trying to get outside the box a little bit, because it got boring in there.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. So let's talk a little bit about you. You've put out a bunch of videos and you've got some different styles. What is your favorite style of video when it comes to the RC genre?
I like the fabrication videos. I've got like a different audience for each style. There's I almost 30,000 subscribers. I'd say a couple thousand really like my driving videos, and about 10,000 really like my fabrication and stuff like that. And then the rest of them kind of just like a mix of everything. I used to do a Saturday night in the scale shop video series where I worked on everything. There was no set flow. I'd just come in here, turn on the camera, and start playing. And wherever I ended up. And that had a really big following. But now I've got so many builds going, I kind of have to focus on one at a time. So I have a whole video every week for that series, and it just kind of goes that way. But yeah, it's just touching on what you said earlier about that gasser build stalling out. I get so many kettles in the fire. Like I did that giveaway build for RC 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And I sat on that. I had to sit quiet for like 4 months, and it was killing me. I started they talked to me about that in like I think late January, early February this year.
Yeah.
And I had it to them by I think June. So it didn't come out until September or August. So it was 2 months. I couldn't build anything. I was so like, I need to show people this. I had 500 pictures of it on my computer. I had the whole video like edited. It was an hour long, and I was just waiting to post it, and I didn't know when it was going to happen. So yeah, it just that really stalled my builds too. And I started, getting creative and thinking about stuff and come up with ideas. And once that they announced they were going to give it away, I posted the video, and all of a sudden I'm free, and I've got 7 projects in the works. I was like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah. I would totally get that. So I'm the type of person, like, other people can be like very calculated and film something or build something and like sit on that info and post it like a week later, a month later, a year later. I'm like, I just finished it. I'm like, share it to everybody.
I know, it's cool. I got 2 videos ready to upload right now, and I've almost uploaded one earlier. I'm like, no, it's Thursday. I need to wait till Friday.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about videos and how you like go about the process of producing one from start to finish. Do you kind of just go with the flow of what you're doing and building, or do you plan out everything and then build from there?
There's no, I mean, as far as like my ramp truck build, that's the video that's going to come out this Friday. I finally built an aluminum structure for inside the bed. That wasn't, I mean, I plan it like while I'm at work thinking about stuff. I'll just kind of plan ahead, and then on Saturday night I'll be bored. I'll make a video, and that'll be next week's video. So that's kind of how I do it. I only stay about 1 week ahead of time with video production. But yeah, I don't come in here and think, okay, I want the camera here, all that. No, the camera's just there. I'll just point it at whatever's on the table, focus it in, turn it on, and start filming. There's no real thought behind it other than keeping it focused, because it doesn't autofocus.
That's fair. Completely understandable, man. I've felt that pain before. So let's talk a little bit about your build stuff, and let's shift a little bit away from the videos and talk about what is your favorite build that you personally have ever built?
Let me look around the room here. It's hard. All these, like, so doing the giveaway build for RC4 Drive, that was like, I raised a puppy and gave it away to another family kind of deal. Yeah. That was a combination of a couple of my builds. So it was hard to let that go. That's why I have all the rest of them still, because I could never sell them. But I think the number 2 is the number 2 truck here is the pinnacle of everything. It was the first one I actually fabricated the chassis, and it led to me and Jason from Awesome Designs. He created this body, and I found it. He was giving away the file, so I downloaded the file, 3D printed it, and started building my rat rod. And he found me on YouTube and messaged me. He was like, "Hey, I designed that." I was like, "Why'd you give it away?" But that led to a awesome relationship, man. He's runs Awesome Designs. He's a 3D designer just as a hobby, and he's got a 3D printer. He tests stuff, and we've kind of had a really good relationship over the past couple of years now because of that. Yeah. And he's in South Africa, and I'm in Texas, so time difference makes it hard to talk sometimes. But
oh yeah,
he's designed so much stuff for me, like the rat rod tractor grill. All this stuff's available on his Shapeways store. I'll work with him on a design, give him measurements. He'll send me some 3D renderings. If I like it, he'll upload it to Shapeways. I'll buy one and print it out. I mean, we just do all kinds of cool stuff together.
Yeah.
And it's, that's one of those really good relationships that this is kind of, it was created from the hobby.
Right.
Sorry, knocked my number 2 off the table here.
Oh, don't do that. Like, be safe with the trucks. Don't knock them down. All
right, there we go.
Let's talk about like the truck, the number 2 rat rod that you just pulled out. Both those grills that you just pulled out are very weathered. They're very ratty looking, obviously with rat rod in the title. But you do a lot of weathered style builds. Do you ever do anything that you paint like super shiny and new, or do you always go for that weathered look?
I have, and it never comes out good. I think I'm not sure if you can see it back there. My orange Bruiser clone back there. Mm-hmm. That's okay. There's only one really bad run on it, and about 8 coats of clear, and it's still not quite smooth enough for me. But I don't know. That was part of the pain with Lexan, is I never was very good at it, and it just always came out poorly, and it didn't look real enough for me. So with this stuff, I did paint and body. I wanted to do paint and body when I got out of high school.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of stuff. Our car club, we hung out at the body shop every day, and we all worked on each other's cars and stuff. And I realized that I hate body work. And when you're working with 3D printed stuff, I mean, there's a certain amount you're going to have to do no matter what kind of finish and everything. But like the patina, the faded look, the blended colors and stuff like that, it's almost like painting. I used to paint with oil paints, did a few bad paintings with oil paint, but with this, it's like that. And each one's like my art, kind of. And every one I do is different. I don't ever follow the exact same process every time. I add something new. I'll find a new product to try. You know, it's like this grill shell here is 3D printed white plastic.
Yeah.
It's got a flat red paint from Walmart, nothing fancy.
Yeah.
It's got a gloss green paint, and then I wet sand it for hours. And then I hit it with those AK rust streaks, AK products, weathering stuff for like the scale train world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That stuff's magic. And that just brings everything out. And then the parts that you sanded down to the white plastic, they pop out like real rust or primer underneath all the other layers. So it's like a layer you didn't have to paint. And you know, that's kind of like the go-to technique for stuff like that. But I'm always trying different colors, different things, different combinations, different sanding techniques, different grits. Just everyone's different. You never know what you're going to get with them.
Yeah.
This was one of my favorite ones. Even had some imperfections in the print, but it came out just looking like more damage on the body.
Yeah. No, it looks great though. Like I dig that it's not very uniform. For me personally, and I don't know how people do it, so maybe you can allude to that. I'm like a symmetrical person. So if it's on one side, it really should be on the other.
Oh no. Can't have any of that.
Really hard time stepping out from that. So like, I don't know how people do it, but
it's great when you're painting like this. I mean, I went outside and I painted the ramp truck in the rain, like literally in the rain on my back porch, water drops falling on it. And you know, whatever, it had some runs in it and nasty. You come in, sand that paint layer down after it dried, spray the next one. Didn't matter. There's dust, dirt. I'm in here welding. There's metal shavings and stuff on this stuff. Just sand through it and keep going. It's just like you would do a real rat rod. You just, you know, you got the base underneath all the layers, and you're just working the layers down to get the desired look.
Yeah.
It's seems simple to me. I know a lot of people don't understand it completely, and I've done a lot of videos on weathering to try and to share the ideology of it. It's a different way of thinking than when you're used to painting nice shiny cars.
Yeah. It definitely would be. I haven't ever tried any weathering stuff. I think that's in the next step in the wheelhouse. Maybe we'll see. But so I was watching a video the other day where you were chopping the top on a rat rod, and I saw you measure, but I saw you measure with some calipers, and they were like, you were like, oh, it looks good, chop. And so, do you usually like measure really precisely, or do you kind of eyeball it and go from there?
I chopped my caliper, so it's very precise. No, it's more eyeball. All of this is eyeball. The chassis is eyeball. Everything I do is just by eye. And when it comes time to weld the two chassis halves together, I will clamp those down to something solid and try to keep that square, because that starts screwing with your suspension geometry. But
right,
when it comes to stuff like that, it just eyeball it, cut it. If it doesn't line up, shave a little bit, you know, just till you get it working. There's no real precision here. It's not a digital caliper. It's just manual gauge, so it's not that precise.
Right. So where do you get the inspirations for the builds that you do? Because a lot of your stuff's kind of off the wall. Like, I know that there are rat rods out there, and I'm sure you're drawing inspiration for various different ones, but
oh yeah.
With stuff being so off the wall, like, how are you finding the pieces, the parts, all of the stuff and putting it all together to make what you're making?
Well, like, I get that a lot on Instagram. A lot of people are, where did you get this drop axle? That's the big thing. It's 1/14 scale semi truck. People don't understand that they can't see the scales working together. Right. If you look back at Tamiya kits, like the 1/10 scale Jeep Wrangler is on the same chassis as something else that's slightly disproportionate. They base their scale off of the platform. A 1/14 scale semi axle is just about the same width as a 1/10 scale crawler axle. So a Toyota axle is the same width as a semi truck axle, and it's just learning to understand how to work all the scales together. I mean, you can go anywhere from 18th scale to 1/8 scale. That my number one rat rod build, if I can reach it over here.
Yeah.
This is a 1/8 scale model car body. 1/8 scale, but you put that 1/10 scale RC 4-drive V8 next to it, and it works perfectly. If I can hold it all together here. I've got it all loosely attached, but this stuff scale is relative, and that's the thing people have to understand is it's not cut and dry. You don't have to. If I need a tire for a 10th scale crawler, it doesn't have to be a 10th scale tire. Everything is relative in the RC world, and you can learn to work it all together.
Absolutely. So how do you go about gaining that knowledge of what works together? Because I think that's one of the hardest things that people struggle with. Like, honestly, the crawler market is kind of going more cookie cutter, like buy this piece, bolt it on, buy that piece, bolt it on.
Yeah.
How do you gain the knowledge of like all these things work together?
It's just experience. I mean, I spent a lot of time. I spent a while building the 14th scale trucks. Excuse me. And I got about $1,200 in a king hauler build and gave up. That world is way too over expensive for that. But I've had it. For me, touching and having a part. If I'll get on eBay, I spend hours on eBay every week. I'm on there browsing through model cars, die-cast stuff. That's where I found my diesel engine for my rat rod build. It was a die-cast model, replica of some foreign industrial engine, and it looked like a 12-valve Cummins, so I dirtied it up and threw it on trucks. But
right,
it's just getting on there and trying stuff, reading the measurements. Like I'll get on YouTube or on eBay and I'll see a part and I'll be like, I'll go through and they'll be like product dimensions, and I'll come in here with a tape measure and hold it next to one of my trucks and be like, that could work. And I'll just taking a chance and buying it and seeing what you get.
Right.
But it's just, you got to get your hands on the stuff, see how it fits with everything and how it all works together.
All right. I like your response, because I think that's one of the things that I found as well. Once you see it and you can see it with your eyes, you've touched it with your hands, approximately the size, it makes everything so much easier.
And even going to local hobby shops and just playing with the new rigs, gauging their size, then I can go home, and if I'm on the internet and I'll see a body for an axial, I'm like, well, that would fit this and this and this too, because I've held it and I know, what all will work with. Yeah.
So let's talk about who are some of your influences in the crawling segment of our hobby. And if you were going to pick someone who I should be having on the show, who would you pick?
It's hard for me because I'm not said crawler person anymore. I mean, it was in the beginning, but I don't, everybody I know has got a little mix of everything, and there's more and more of these rat rods and stuff popping up every day. But I think everybody would benefit from talking to Jason from Awesome Designs, because he's not just, he's got he did an entire 3D printed body he designed for Red Cat.
Yeah.
Racing. And little people know about that. He designed an entire slew of downloadable files for mods for Red Cat for the Gen 7. And he's doing so. He built stuff from scratch. He built a little tank the other day that has a camera for the driver's head that moves when you're turning, and you can drive it third person. His ideas are out there, and that's why we get along so well. But he's got some other stuff in the works that I can't talk about yet. That we're doing together a little bit, but he's not really a crawler guy, but I think he would be a good benefit to the show, bring people into his world a little bit and show some of what he does. He's a big part of what I do. Right.
So let's talk about out there on Facebook, Instagram, wherever. What is the favorite build that you have seen from someone else that's out there kicking around?
When I saw this question on a couple weeks episodes ago, I think it was with Wes, I knew which one I was going to say. And it was going to be one of that 58 gasser build, but the Apache gasser. But there's a guy out there called SCO RC, SKO, and he had some custom international semi truck, like a mid-weight semi truck body, and he built a chassis for it, and it's very rat rodish, but it's a big truck with a fifth wheel on it and stuff. That I like that. I like the heck out of that. Every time he posts something, that's awesome.
Awesome, man. I will definitely check that out. I've missed that one, so I always love asking that question and then hearing an answer that I don't know about. I'm like, okay, I'm going there next. So, we had talked a little bit earlier that you don't really go to any competitions. You're not a competition rock crawler or anything like that. You're more of a scale builder. But have you attended any RC specific events that you were able to make it to?
Never.
Never.
The closest thing, there's a pretty big group in I think it's kind of northeastern Oklahoma. Still about a 2.5 hour drive from me. That I've never been able to make it up that way. There's some smaller groups down here in the area, but the biggest thing I went to was a swap meet at a Hobby Town, USA, one of the chain stores around here.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I didn't bring anything. I just came to look. But yeah, there's not even a whole lot of hobby stores in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's pretty lame in that regards. But yeah, I've yet to be to an actual conf. I love to try it. I love to see how far my stick pack could take me through the trails. But
so we have a local guy who runs all stick packs as well, and every time I give him a hard time. I actually bought one of his bodies because the stick pack wouldn't fit in it after we got it all up and running and ready to go. So, but no, he does well. So I mean, you can do it with the stick pack. Don't get me wrong.
You just have to have a lot of them.
Yeah, lots of them. No. So I know you're all over social media. We talked yesterday about you doing stuff with Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Are you like a social media person or a forums person, and why?
Forums are the reason I started YouTube. That really, back in the day, back in the 2007, 2008, in that area, when the crawlers there wasn't anything out there. I think the SEX10 had just come out, and that was, that was about it. But like RC Crawler and stuff, I had accounts on all those forums, and I was seeing what everybody was doing. But back then it was very cliquish. There was, it was like the cool kids table at the high school cafeteria, and I didn't get to sit at it. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with forums. It was, 5 or 6 years ago, and I got back on and I started on YouTube, and it was just like, I'm just going to do this. We'll see what happens. People will actually see what you're doing and hear you talk about it. Maybe it'll be different than just posting pictures with a little icon in the corner of what you are and who you are and all that. It seemed a little impersonal, and, unless you knew everybody already, you didn't really fit in back then. So I've always been anti-forums, even with real car stuff. I'll get on there and Google questions when I have a problem, but the RC forums I haven't been on in decades. Or a decade.
All right, man.
Actually, it's been about a decade.
I see a bunch of like, hey, did I miss show and tell? Can we see some stuff? So let's see where you're at. I don't know where it's at in regards to you, but I'm going to put in a request. When I had Wes on, he talked about the fact that you guys were doing a collaboration. Do you have it kicking around? Can you show something with it?
That build is kind of stalled right now because I'm so eat up with my ramp truck build, but it is back here. I'll have to take my headphones off to get it.
Oh, you're good.
Don't mind the axle hanging there. It still needs needs some front suspension mounts and the scale diesel engine that is supposed to be in it. But last thing I did was the interior. It's got seats again from Awesome Designs. He made these seats for me for my other rat rod build. But yeah, it's making progress. We did some real upholstery inside, and it's got his I don't even have the body on right. Sorry, it's kind of all a mess. But anyway, Wes's work is fantastic. He emailed me on YouTube back when you could do that, asking if I'd be interested in doing a collaboration. I get that often, or it's usually just people wanting to buy something off of me. But He, you know, I went to his channel and I started watching his build series, and you know, his channel was kind of like mine as far as it's geared more towards showing you how to do stuff, and that's
Yep.
I like that, and he actually knew what he was doing because this his styrene work is fantastic. So that's I emailed him back and I was like, you know, I think you could actually hold up the end of the bargain on this deal. So let's do something. But yeah, it's still a ways off, and I know he's probably waiting for a while for some updates. But I just one build at a time. One of them starts pulling you in, you just got to finish it.
Right. So, what is the one that has you pulled in super deep right now that you are cranking away on?
That's the ramp truck build, and with the '58 Apache Chevy body, the cab, and the ramp bed from Nightcrawlers 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing is, I mean, I'm fabricating. It's going to have air ride from Pro Air RC, of actual air system on it.
Yeah.
And we're really hoping it can carry the weight of that heavy truck and one of my rat rods on the back. We've got contingency plans in place. Pro Air RC, he's out of Russia.
Yeah.
And his system is fantastic, but it's still a little bulky, but it's the smallest thing that we've seen so far. But the struts are 94 millimeter. So it's going to have trick cantilever mounts and stuff to fit underneath the body where it'll actually lay body on the ground.
Right.
But yeah, we're almost to the point. I'm probably 2 videos away from starting the suspension on it. I've got the axles hung on it and everything is rolling and dragging, and I've got the bed mounted. I just need to mount the body, and yeah, I can't pick it up because it's about 3 foot long, but I've got the cab here.
There we go. Got something.
And the seat. Oh, y'all haven't seen this video yet. I made a seat.
Oh, showing stuff off before it's posted.
Oh yeah, but that's another thing. Like Nightcrawlers 3D, Mick Gould. If you haven't seen his stuff, we've been working together about as long as me and Jason have at Awesome Designs. And you know, he sent me that number 3 rat rod body. He just messaged me one day. He's like, "Hey, I 3D print stuff. You want one of these?" I was like, "Heck yeah, that looks cool as heck." So he sent me one, and it's been a collaboration ever since. Like we do stuff. I'm about to ship him off tomorrow. He bought a Blazer body off of me, and I'm doing some trade deals with him, and we're gonna have some new products from him too. But I got this body from him. It even has an opening hood. Oh, we're falling in hood. But then it's like the grill on it was kind of boring, so I got with Jason at Awesome Designs, and I sent him some pictures of real cars, and he came up with this grill for me, and 3D printed that through Shapeways, and I've got kind of an old rat rod lead sled style grill.
Yeah.
That I chrome painted and weathered, and it's, you know, everything's a collaboration here. It's like I know one of the things you talked about with sponsors, and I can't really call them sponsors because everybody I work with is kind of a collaboration. It's not. I mean, yeah, he sent me that body and that ramp bed for free, but it's not. You know, I'm sponsoring him because I like what he does, and that's
right.
That's the big thing. Is I support him, and he supports me. Been there since he started out with 3D printing, and I told him in a year after we posted the first video, I'm like, "You're gonna need another printer." And this year he bought another printer. So yeah, it's excuse me. Yeah, it's neat to work with other people and stuff, and the whole rat rod thing. It's kind of off topic here, but the whole rat rod idea came from Richard Cook, Scale RC Cook, or Bad Fellas RC. We used to talk a whole lot. We haven't talked a whole lot lately, but it was 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, and he had a 1/8 scale T-bucket body that was a model car kit, and he mocked it up with an RC tire and sent me a picture of it, and I was like, the light bulb went off, and that's when I started doing what I was doing. That was the kind of breaking point for this genre that we've created.
Yeah. So one of the things with the rat rod stuff is it's very out in the open. So like everything you do is like right in your face because there isn't anything covering, you know, the suspension. There isn't anything covering any of that. And so when you do something like that, where are you hiding all of the electronics? Like you don't just build models, you're building RC trucks. Where are you hiding all of that?
Anywhere you can. I mean, it's let's see if I can grab this one. Like I try to keep the steering up front. There's a steering servo in this grill. You can't really see it. It's a little micro servo. It's a Savox. It's decent torque, but it's not anything crawler grade. But try to hide that up there. The receiver is inside the body right here. The ESC mounts on this side of the door, and the battery just kind of hangs on for hopes and wishes. There's not really anywhere to mount it. I mean, there's nothing inside of there.
Yeah.
I've gotten a little better here in later days, later builds with where I put things, but it's all usually in the body because the roofs are chopped so much. You can't really do a whole interior on some of these, so trying to just hide it inside.
Yeah. No, and that's exactly what I mean. Like, you have to get so creative to hide all of that stuff. Like, there isn't a wire showing. There isn't. I mean, man, the detail, the attention to it is spot on.
You just think of it like a real car. Where is your wiring harness run on a real car? Like if you got a wire coming from front, it's going to go down the fender and in the frame rail and up into the cab that way. So that's what you did on that. Just kind of tuck it in the frame rail and put a zip tie on it and call it good.
Right, man. I completely understand. So, I guess we're kind of nearing the end here, and I've chugged through all of the questions, but my biggest thing is, what should we expect to see coming next from you here in the future?
I have no idea. I really don't. I just go with the flow, man. It's that these builds, they just go where they want to go. I know Jason's at Awesome Designs is working on some new 3D accessories and things, and Nightcrawler's 3D is working on or he's supposed to be mailing me a new body already. So I don't know. We'll just see where the builds take us and go from there.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And so I thank you for all the shout outs for all these great companies. Like, I've followed these guys, the guys you've mentioned, the Awesome Designs and Nightcrawlers 3D and Mick Gould and all of those guys. Like, I've been following their stuff and I've been waiting in the wings, but the problem is a 3D printed body doesn't always fit really well into a competition type build.
Oh, absolutely.
That's typically where I go. So
true.
That's why I haven't.
That's one of the things I get asked the most too. Is people want, will that rat rod body fit my trail finder too? I'm like, not at all. No. I've tried it. I've had several different ones and they do not fit. You've got to do something different with that. I mean, you can still make them 4x4 and rock crawler ish, but you're going to have to do something different with it. But yeah, it's definitely outside the box. That's just kind of my thing. You know, I know a lot of people want me to do a gasser, want me to do a 4x4 one, but I just like them. I like the lowrider thing. I like the rat rods, the low slung, and you know, maybe we'll find the right body that'll take us to a gasser one day.
I say keep doing what you're doing because it's killer, and I love watching every step of the way. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, if you don't have anything else to add, man, I'm just going to say thank you. And hopefully we get a chance to talk again. Hopefully you'll maybe be on sometime in the future later on. And I definitely will be following your builds, checking out all of the stuff because I love the outside of the box thinking. That's definitely where my head usually goes. So let's see what you come up with.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
All right. So I'm going to let you go and I'll close things out and we'll go from there.
All righty. See y'all later.
All right. Yep. See ya. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this week's Live at 945.